Okay, I think this is recording. Hi, I'm new to FlossTube. My name is Garrett. My friend Angie told me that I needed to do this, and so I'm kind of doing this because of Angie. So hi, Angie. Hi. Um, okay. So I started cross-stitching this year, um, as a way to deal with stress, because while retail management seems to most of the outside world is not that high stress of a job, it really is. So, I started back in like May, um, and this was my first project. It's the Emerald City. It sparkles, although I don't know how well that's going to show up. I guess it shows up a little bit. Um, it I bought the pattern off of a lady on a Wizard of Oz Facebook group, because I really liked Wizard of Oz, and I needed something to fill a spot on the wall. As you can see, even though I've completed it, it's not framed, or hanging for that matter, but that's its own separate issue. And I really, really loved it, and that was when I discovered on Etsy the Brooke's books. And here's Dorothy, which is framed and reflecting my screen. Great, huh? I did give her ruby slippers, because, I'm sorry, I think ruby slippers are better than silver. That's just me. Um, and it was not long after that that I discovered Facebook groups that had for cross-stitching, and that was when the disease really took over. My mother actually cross-stitched when I was growing up some, but doesn't anymore. She does other creative-y things of the sort. So the first couple of things I did were all Oz themed, like this little one from the Little Stitcher, which also has not yet been framed. That's a growing trend. And I discovered other things that I wanted to work on, like the Frosted Pumpkins Halloween Town. Ooh. And I'm going to turn off the light real quick, because I did something really cool with this one. That doesn't show up because there's still other light sources. And won't show up because, oh, wait, maybe if I turn down the brightness on, this is totally a mess, and I am so sorry for this. I don't know if you can tell. Maybe it's glowing in the dark, maybe it's not. But all of the white stuff was glowing in the dark. I don't know if that did anything. If not, then you just got a very lovely black screen for no apparent reason. And I tend to get a little creative with my stuff. I didn't do part 4 because I didn't like part 4. And I thought, you know what, it's mine, so I'm not going to do part 4. So I didn't. But I do tend to get a little creative with some of mine, because it's fun like that. I have a background in theater design, so this is like my only real outlet for that sort of thing, because God knows I don't do theater anymore. That was more stress than I wanted. So after that, I also discovered, all comes out in a second, I discovered the SamSarah one, which this is, and that's my phone, someone is text messaging me. And yes, that was the Scooby-Doo theme. The SamSarah, this is my first real time using a lot of variegated threads, and using buttons, and doing a mystery sampler. It was also my first time stitching on linen, and I really had a blast. I didn't do, the bottom row was supposed to have some stuff. I didn't really do it because I didn't like the bottom row, and I didn't like the way it was turning out. Like, it just, I could not make it work. There's a little bit of weirdness up here with the owl. I don't really know what I did wrong, but it went wrong. So this area is a little bit weird. And then these were supposed to be done over one with sort of a back stitching, but I could not make it work right with the chart either. And apparently no one else could either, because they released an alternate chart. So that's what I did. And then my eye, unfortunately, fell, the dot of my eye fell in the little polka dots. So you couldn't tell that my eye was dotted. So I shifted the red star here from, I think it was supposed to be up here. And there were supposed to be 3 stars in this bottom part, but I thought it looked too crowded, so I shifted that one up to cover where the red one was supposed to be. So SamSarah, ooh, spooky. Eventually I'll be turning this into a banner. And Mysterious Halloween Town will also eventually be framed. Then I discovered the Lizzy-Kate Mystery Sampler, the Things Unseen, that's coming up, and I'm super, super excited for that. Like, you have no idea. But I wanted to try a Lizzy-Kate, and I wanted to try one that wasn't Halloween-themed, because I do a lot of Halloween-themed things. So I picked up Snowy String, which is this one. This is my second one on linen. It was supposed to be done on a brown linen, but I didn't like the brown, so I took green instead. And this I plan to turn into a pillow. I just have to actually do it. So, but you can see and it was a really fast stitch. Like, I did it in under a week. But I had an absolute blast doing it, and I really want to do the rest of the string samplers and a lot of the other Lizzy-Kate things, because I like them. Alright, so that leaves me with my 2 current major works in progress. One of them is the Lesley Teare Wizard of Oz, which is this one. I'm a quarter of the way through with it. Well, a little over. I did a little bit of tweaking to the pattern. Which way am I going? This is the direction I went here. This is probably easier. Garrett, fold it in half. And actually hold up the part you're talking about. Haha. Okay. So there we go. That's a little bit easier. Okay. I'm using my laptop, and it's on my lap, and so it keeps sliding. Okay. So, Glinda, I did some satin stitches on to make it a little bit of shiny, and I tried gold French knots, and that's not working. I think we're going to have to switch to beads or something. There was a ton of backstitch in this thing. I changed the rainbow so that it actually had purple, and then I put some chronic blending filament in it. Whee, shiny. And then the Emerald City I adapted because I wanted it to actually look like the Emerald City, and there was this weird section here that weird section was here, haha, that didn't quite match, and I couldn't tell what it was supposed to be, so I just adapted it to look like grass. And then this part that's unfinished here, that's blue, those are birds. So, and Dorothy is here, and then over on this side is the Witch and the Tin Man. So, and I think Toto's in the basket. So I'm about a quarter of the way through that one. Then the other one I'm currently working on is another frosted pumpkin. It's the Once Upon a Time sampler, and this is how much I've got done so far. I screwed up at the original one, because I started in the center. I screwed up on Jack and the Beanstalk, and accidentally made my blocks one too long and one too tall. So then I had to do some editing there, and I decided I really, really love the frosted pumpkin. So if y'all are watching this at any point, I really love y'all's designs. I just wish there was more backstitch and detail work, because I really like doing that sort of thing. It's that whole theater design stuff. So I started doing some tweaks. So like you can see, first in May, I put some gold in the gold coins, and I put some bricks on the house, and some detail work on the beanstalk. And this is sort of, I don't really know who made this fabric, unfortunately. I got it at this really awful local needlepoint shop that I really don't like, and I will never go back to. But I was there, and I felt obligated to buy something, so I did. So that was this fabric. So subsequently, I had to adjust a few colors for the fabric itself. Any standalone white had to become ecru, because the standalone white just disappeared, and clouds just can't be stitched, because they look kind of stupid. Clouds on top of clouds. Anyway, I added some gold and such in the frog prints, and some purple spots, because what frog doesn't need purple spots? The purple in his crown is from DragonflyLotus, which is some of the most amazing silk I've ever worked with. It doesn't tangle, it's nice and thick, you don't even really need to do full X's. It's so great. I love it. And if I can figure out how, I will put a link to her website on there. Liz is super cool. The January one I completely overhauled, because and again, I apologize, Frosted Stitching, or Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I love y'all, but I really didn't like your Snow White. So I did my own Snow White. So I added a wishing well and some dwarf hats, and you can't really tell too well, but I colored the center apple, the one that's full. I went over it with some metallics, so there's actually a frowny face that's not metallic, because it's the poison apple, so of course, frowny face. Then March was the Three Little Pigs. Here I didn't do tremendous amounts of changing. I made the brick house look a little bit fancier. Oh, pardon me, that was a hiccup. I gave one pig some straw, I gave one some sticks. I did change the the brick pig, because my boss has a pig, and that's what her pig looks like. And I have the hiccups now. Great. That's wonderful. I also did some detail work on the wolf, and I gave him blue eyes, because I wanted him to look nicer, because I've always felt bad for the wolf, because I think actually the first iteration of the Three Little Pigs, or at least the first one that I remember, was the true story of the Three Little Pigs, in which the big bad wolf is going to borrow sugar, and he has allergies, and that's what happens to the first pig. And he's still suffering from the allergies when he visits the second pig, and so it's all that whole stuff. So I've always kind of felt sorry for the wolf. I also added little bitty tufts of hair so that they actually have hair on their chinny chin-chins. And then I started on the August one, which is the one below Jack the Beanstalk. That one's the Birmingham Musicians, which I really love how obscure they went with some of these fairy tales, because there's not just the standard. I'm skipping over April and June. The reason being is it's a stitch-along. It's a mystery sampler, so we'll find out here in a couple of days what happens on what November is going to be. My theory is Wizard of Oz. We'll see if I'm right. But since the Wizard of Oz is like my most favorite thing ever, if you couldn't tell by my previous works, and April is my birth month, I want to put Oz in April, if April is going to turn out to indeed, or if Oz turns out to be November. If it turns out to be December, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because April is currently Goldilocks and the Three Bears, which, while I like Goldilocks just fine, if I have an option to put my favorite fairy tale in my birth month, I'm going to take it. If not, my second favorite one is the one they have in June, which is The Princess and the Pea. Which is my favorite because of the fairy tale theater episode with Liza Minnelli. Not because Liza Minnelli's in it necessarily, because I didn't know who she was when I first saw it, but I really love that adaptation of The Princess and the Pea, and I really love that fairy tale in general. I also really like Once Upon a Mattress. The other ones that we know of so far, July is Thumbelina, September was Rapunzel, and October was Cinderella, which I kind of figured because of the whole pumpkin coach thing. So at least 2 months left. Pretty sure December is going to be Hansel and Gretel. So that's why I'm thinking November could be Wizard of Oz. It really, honestly, could be anything, but I can't think of anything that's sort of November-y themed other than Wizard of Oz, and that's only because they show the TV, or the movie on TV, or used to until that's its own story issue. I'm holding pieces of my Q-snaps because I don't like to not be doing things with my hands. I don't know why I picked those up, or why I'm waving them around like an idiot. But I have Q-snap. Actually, I have 2. Yes. Oh, and the flowers. Sorry, I forgot. The butterflies, which you can't really see too well, they're variegated print floss from Moe's sale. I used 2 Disney princesses. I used Ariel and Rapunzel. And I used 2 of her Harry Potter flosses. I used Gryffindor and Harry. And Moe's sale is on Facebook, but she's about to have her own website, I think, here in the next month or so. Angie turned me on to her. I don't really have anything super kitted up. I'm kind of on the Brooke side, so besides this Lizzy-Kate sampler, I'm kind of having to really watch. I have several of the Thomas Kincaid Disney ones, and I've started work on Little Mermaid, but it's in a different area of the house, and that requires getting up, and I really don't want to get up because I'm lazy. So yeah, that's kind of a small introduction to me and to what I'm working on. And I guess that's it for this time. I have 2 needle minders. I don't know where the other one is at the moment, but I have one. This is actually made for me by a partner in a gift exchange, and it's a purple seashell. So, yes. Anyhow, that's it. So I think I'm going to sign off for now. I don't know why I just saluted you.